Bush country. They like Bushes in South Carolina. And he's got resources. And he's been working on South Carolina for a long time.
John Kasich arrives here with no strength whatsoever.
And what? What assets? What's he got going for him?
This is a tough state to be the Boy Scout.
It is, but if you're in a place and everybody else is a tout, a cheat, and a crook, and you're a Boy Scout, you stand out.
What about the thieves and the horse? Don't make it.
The reality is, we may be 2 weeks away from a two-man race.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little scene from episode 5 called The Winnowing. That is, of course, of the Circus inside the greatest political show on earth. And it is produced by and co-hosted by Mark McKinnon, former media advisor for President George W. Bush and Senator John McCain. Hello, sir.
Hey, Steve. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Good. I know you're working on episode 6.
We are, Fear and Loathing, and I'm deep in the lizard's thicket of South Carolina right now, and this is amazing. I mean, just in the last 24 hours, this race is just being blown up left and right. I mean, yesterday we had the governor, Nikki Haley, endorse Marco Rubio, which was a big dang deal down here. And then I was just covering Jeb Bush had an event at noon, and I was covering that. In the middle of that town hall that he had, Donald Trump decided to take on the Pope.
Well, yeah, but of course, in fairness, the Pope decided to take on Donald
Trump.
Correct.
You're right. The Pope hit first.
Well, how do you think that's going to play in South Carolina, where Trump? Again, I know evangelicals aren't Catholics, but I'm just saying, nonetheless, because the Pope spread it to say that Trump, without mentioning his name, is not a Christian, if he said what he said, which he did say. So my question is, with evangelicals, where Trump has a significant lead over Cruz, how will this play out, do you think?
Well, it's hard to predict anything in this election anymore, and it's really hard to predict anything with Donald Trump. I mean, there actually are very few Catholics in South Carolina, very few. And beyond that, you see where Trump is taking this argument, and also Marco Rubio and others. They're focusing on the immigration component of the aspect, because really what the Pope is saying is, you're not a Christian because you're building walls, and then of course they're pushing back and saying, well, look at the walls around the Vatican.
Right.
All right. So if this becomes an argument about immigration, Trump could very well win that. If it's not just sort of get beyond the fact that Trump's taking on the Pope, when you people here focus on what the issue's about, it's immigration, and probably more of them side with Donald Trump than the Pope.
All right, let me ask you about South Carolina. You're there. That episode 5 talked about the Bushes. The latest Fox News poll out today shows Trump 32, Cruz 19, Rubio 15, Jeb Bush and Ben Carson tied at 9. Yeah. What does Jeb Bush have to do in South Carolina? Where must he finish for him not to have to say adios?
Well, it's going to be very tough if Marco Rubio or John Kasich, for that matter, finish ahead of him. And if they finish substantially ahead of him, then it's very tough for him to make a rational argument about how he comes out of South Carolina and goes on. I mean, the key for any one of the candidates who aren't named Cruz or Trump is just to be the guy, to be the establishment guy who the rest of the establishment will then coalesce around, presumably, and hopefully make it a three-way race. Because it sure looks like Cruz has got the resources to go on past South Carolina. Trump certainly will. So that's the big question. And it appears that Marco Rubio got a big win in his back with that Haley endorsement.
Yeah, well, she has 80% approval rating, but there's always speculation on endorsements. They either don't mean much, or people know Nikki Haley, they might like her, but it might not mean much. We'll see how it translates. Certainly, I was very impressed. I don't know if you saw any of the CNN town hall yesterday. I was very impressed with all three of them, but I thought Marco Rubio, a woman stands up, said, I want to be a dentist. I just finished school. I got to go to dental school. $100,000 debt I'm going to have before I even step in there. And he came out with his experience in student loans, his plan, three-pronged plan on how to fix the student loan problem, including letting investment firms invest in someone like her, pay her tuition. She then gives a portion of her profits and the money she makes to them going forward. And if she doesn't succeed, they lose. They made a bad investment. I mean, I just think he knows so much, Rubio.
That's a really innovative idea, and not only knows so much, but he's speaking a generational message. I mean, that has got a powerful appeal to millennials, and if Republicans are going to win the presidency again, they have got to appeal to younger voters. So, and that's why listen, I would normally be the first one to say endorsements aren't aren't that big a deal. But Nikki Haley's a different matter here. As you said, there's some people who don't like her here, but they're all ready for Cruz or Trump. So,
right.
But there's a bunch of people kind of sitting on the fence between Kasich and Bush, and just kind of waiting for some sort of signal. And this is, first of all, it's really timely. It's just 3 days out. Second of all, as you said, I went to their press conference last night, and with the two of them on stage, both with great sort of immigrant stories in their backgrounds, they're young.
Make a nice ticket, Mark?
Yeah, make a great ticket.
Yeah, all right. Listen, I appreciate it, sir, as always. And everybody check out the Circus, inside the greatest show, political show on earth. And that's Showtime on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern and on demand. Thank you, Mark. We'll speak to you soon. Gimme 5 is next. Hillary running as a woman.